Hey everyone, I wanted to say hello from Longwood University. I'm standing here in my office in the English department, and my name is Dr. Chris McGee. I teach children's literature courses, I teach young adult literature courses, I teach film courses, and I teach writing courses. I've been here about 16 years, and I have to say that I love Longwood University. It's a great place to teach, it's a great place to work with students, and it's a great place to be. It's also a great place if you are thinking about being an elementary school teacher, a middle school teacher, a secondary school teacher. If you're thinking about a place to come in Virginia, this is the best school to come. We have an incredible program in which we get students out into the field. We get them in the classroom, interacting with students, interacting with cooperating teachers. And our program gives you an incredible background so that you can go out there and be a fantastic teacher. I am the assistant director of our elementary education program, so I spend a lot of time advising students to get through our program, helping them through the classes that they need. And I just wanted to say a couple of quick words about what that looks like, what it means to be a college student, and then I wanted to show you just a little bit about what we do in our classes. First of all, our program is kind of divided into general education, which is giving you the kind of courses that you need to sort of see the field out there. Many people who come into college don't stay in the major that they enter in. And so general education gives you a sense of the different professions that are out there. I came to college as a communications major and switched over to English when I took a literature course that changed my life. General education also gives you the soft skills, so to speak. It helps you work in groups, it helps you do projects, it helps you present in front of people, it helps you give critical thinking skills, and it connects interdisciplinarily, meaning that you're thinking about how different fields speak to each other. If you're maybe a biology major or a math major, maybe that's not important, but for a person who's going to go out and teach and sort of know so many things, that's the kind of background, that foundation that you need. And then you go on to take major courses. These are the courses that are required by the state, that require you to have a certain number of science courses, social science courses, fine arts courses, English courses, one of which is mine, and I think the best class you'll take, children's literature. And then the last year of your entire program will be out in the field doing partnerships and then going on to do student teaching on your own. We put you out there doing hours that other places don't require, and you get the kind of training that you really, really need. And I wanted to say a quick word about being a college student as well. College was the moment that my life changed. It was the way and the space and the opening that I first thought about who I was, what I liked, how I talked to other people. I was a super shy, super awkward, super mopey kind of kid in high school, but college brought me out of myself. It taught me to be able to speak and think, and it taught me what I loved and how I could express what I loved. College is a place where you go from being told what to think to how to think. And I know that's kind of a cliche, but it really, really is important. But I want to say for college that it really has to be a thing you go after. It has to be a thing that you want and you're passionate about and you want something from it. You're going to be taking all these different classes, and it has to be something where you're piecing together, okay, I'm going to be a teacher. What do I need to know? What do I need to get better at? How do I need to express myself? I knew I was an English major from the very beginning, and I knew that as I took these different courses that I could make connections between my Latin course and my biology course. But I had a kind of tenacity and a kind of passion for going after, wanting to know new things, being curious. And I think that there's no place in the world that that's better for than college. I know that in today's world, it's hard to think about, why college is so important, but college is the place where you become alive. College is the place where you become a human being. And I know you can do that in a lot of other places. No place is better than college. I wanted to talk to you then one last thing about what we do in a typical kind of classroom. I think if you're taking a children's literature course, which I think is great, you need to be thinking about books in so many different ways. One of the things we talk about is not only the kind of ways in which children receive books and how they take books into their lives and how they learn, but also what books are doing and how they create meaning and how authors embed what they're thinking about and how they perceive children into those books. I think by the end of a semester, you really get a good sense of how to read and also how to get other people to read, what it means to read. And one of the ways to think about how to read is how to read cultural ideas in a book. Ideas, like ideologies, are just cultural ideas that have fermented in such a way that they've taken on the idea of like unquestioned truth. They become the ideas that are so normal and so natural to us that they become the water we breathe, the water that we swim in, the air that we breathe, excuse me. So, for instance, an idea such as girls like pink sort of finds its ways into books. And so, by the way, I have an incredible office here. I'm a huge Hardy Boys fan. Nancy Drew, I'm pointing backwards. I teach Harry Potter. I teach Lemony Snicket. This is the joy of my life. So, for instance, you're looking at ways in which cultural ideas get into a book and how the book pushes against and also reinforces those ideas in something like Fancy Nancy. It's great to look at a children's book and think about how children are not only taking in the lessons, but also taking in these kind of cultural values and becoming people out of it. A story I often like to show is from an old Dick and Jane book. And this is a story called Big and Little. And let me read it to you really quickly. Big and Little. Come, come, come and see. Father is big. Mother is little. Look, Father, Dick is big. Sally is little. Big, big Dick. Little baby Sally. Yeah, it's fun to read. If you look at this image here, you'll see a kind of cultural ideology that shows up in children's books. None of which is to say this is a bad thing. It's just how literature exists. It's an image that suggests men are big, women are little. So I often ask my students, and I try not to judge them too much, about dating. When you date, are you ever sort of bothered? Let's say if you're female and heterosexual, are you bothered by dating somebody who's shorter than you? Are you dating somebody who doesn't have any hair? Because that's actually kind of cool. These kind of cultural ideologies show up in lots of books. And so one of the things that you can look for in a book is how these ideologies sort of push against and play with the lessons in a book. For instance, this is a book called D.W.'s Guide to Perfect Manners. And it's a book that is lesson heavy. In other words, it teaches you, for instance, that you should make your bed. It'll make your parents happy. But also, just look at the page. Pay attention to how girlhood is represented. Girlhood is represented as soft, as delicate, as wanting to play house, and wanting to be a fairy, and being more connected to animals. And also, there's some balls, but also, like a pony and that sort of thing. So a children's book has these different sort of levels to it. There's a level that sort of pushes outward, that is the lesson of the story that you might see up here, but then it also has more passively in the background just these kind of cultural ideologies. Often when we talk about books like this, or we talk about Disney films, it often comes from this very judgmental place where we're saying, oh, that's bad, that and that. But I rather think about it as ideologies or ways of opening up what a text is doing. It's not a way of judging whether it's good or bad or not. I have no bad feelings about any Disney film. I'm just curious about what they do. I'm curious about how they work. And one of the ways they work is both by pushing against ideologies and reinforcing them. This semester, for instance, we watched Frozen 2, and we watched Inside Out, and we watched Tangled, and we watched Ralph Breaks the Internet. And all throughout those discussions, students had these great insights about how these stories both reinforced and made fun of these ideologies. If you've ever seen Ralph Breaks the Internet, there's a great scene where all these Disney princesses get together and they're aware of the cliches of being a princess and they sort of play against them, but then the film also kind of reinforces them in a way. What I'm really interested in is how these movies represent the world and then how children sort of take them in and wrestle with them. We like to believe that children are really smart, they're really capable, they're really insightful. And so we spend a whole semester cracking these books open and thinking about what they're doing, how they work, not putting them into categories of are they right for children or bad for children, but thinking about them on a deeper level. And you're doing that in this class and you're doing it across the board. If you are at all interested in doing this on a deeper level, we do this for an entire semester. And like I said, I have one of the greatest jobs in the world. I just get to talk about children's books and movies and share that with other people. I love interacting with students. I've never had a class that's bigger than 25, ever, in the time that I've taught here. I never look out and see a big auditorium in which I just don't know anybody's name. I get to know students in the first week of the class, I get to know them by their name, and we work on these books together. And that's one of my favorite things about being a teacher and about being here at Longwood. I really want to say to you that if you're thinking about a place to come, if you want to get in a space where you get to wrestle with big ideas and get to wrestle with these sort of ways in which the world is represented, and you want to turn into the kind of professional who's going to be the kind of teacher that you want to be, there's no better place to come than Longwood. I'm here in Granger Hall at Longwood University. I hope I get to meet you. Come by my office and we'll talk, and I'll show you some of my Harry Potter toys. I just wanted to say hello, like I said, and I really hope you're thinking about coming here. I hope you're safe, I hope you're well, and I hope to see you soon. Come to Longwood. Thanks a lot.